Going to bring you developments as soon as we get them, but that is a major magnitude there. So we'll be watching that very closely. Now, back home stateside, another big story we're watching for you. Governor David Paterson speaking just moments ago, saying that today he is ending his campaign for New York governor. Surprising news, considering just yesterday he said he would stay in the race. Joining us now, Republican strategist John Feehery and Democratic strategist Richard Socarides. To both of you, Richard, you first. Just late yesterday he says he's in, and today he says he's out. What changed?
Well, the climate was changing very rapidly around him. I think the bottom line with Governor Paterson is he's a good guy who's always been respected in New York, but from the very start when he took over as governor after Eliot Spitzer resigned, the thinking was that he was in over his head from the beginning.
John, is it that, or is it some new information is about to come out? That's I think what people are asking, because there are all kinds of investigations going on.
Well, I'm sure it's a lot of factors. I think one big factor, though, is the New York Times story, which was very damaging to the governor. And, I think Richard's right. Ever since the governor's gotten in office, it's been one big disaster after another. I mean, this is just another embarrassment for the Democrats. I don't know how they survived this, although I think that probably him resigning early probably helps in their primary race up there in New York.
Well, Governor,
I think that's true. I think the Democrats very much wanted to get beyond this and put up a candidate, Andrew Cuomo, who's our Attorney General here in New York, and put up a candidate who could be successful in a state that's overwhelmingly Democratic and hold on to the seat. You saw very early on President Obama's political team stepping in and asking Governor Paterson months ago not to run. And this New York Times investigation recently about his interfering, apparently, in a criminal investigation involving one of his aides was probably just the last straw that broke the camel's back.
John, this should, I mean, if the way you're talking is true, this should really clear the way for Rick Blasio, the Republican challenger. But is there enough traction being gained there, or is it really all about Andrew Cuomo, the Attorney General, who is a Democrat, who wants that job, apparently?
It's a good question. I think Rick Blasio is an excellent candidate. I think he's a pretty smart guy. I've known Rick for a long time. I think he'll run a very aggressive and smart campaign. Cuomo is a very tough campaigner as well. I'm from Illinois originally, and I know what's going on over there, where if you have a complete collapse in one political party, it's going to help the other political party. And I think that's what's happening here in New York as well.
Yeah, we kind of think that the same thing will happen the last time Rick Blasio ran. I mean, Andrew Cuomo is a very tough campaigner. I've known him since we were young men together here in New York when his father was governor, and also when he served in President Clinton's cabinet. I was on the White House staff.
But can I bring that up, Richard, though? He does come with baggage from that, because he was over at HUD at the time, Housing and Urban Development, when they were pushing hard to have Fannie and Freddie issue more subprime mortgages, which we know really unwound.
Yeah, I don't think any of that is really going to be a problem with him. I think he's got a long record of success, both in the cabinet and now as Attorney General. His approval ratings in the polls in New York State are just sky high. I mean, it's going to, obviously there's going to be an interesting race, and whether it's Rick Blasio or whoever it is, there's going to be a tough campaign.
John,
but he's in pretty good shape.
We know, John, Wall Street is very powerful in this state. Do we start to see them rally around Rick Blasio or not?
I think you very well might see that, and I think it's because Cuomo has been so aggressive against Wall Street, which is one of the biggest industries in New York. I think the other political race that's interesting is this really hurts Kirsten Gillibrand, who's a U.S. senator. She was appointed by Paterson, and this is just a continuing embarrassment for the New York Democrats. And I think that's no surprise, but it's been an ongoing kind of car wreck, and I think probably Democrats are happy to move on from it.
Boy, I tell you, let me just say that I don't see any downside for Kirsten Gillibrand on this. I mean, she's got a great record of her own right now. And the Democrats obviously want to move beyond this here in New York.
Richard, John, we're going to bring you both back, because the New York story is a huge one for Wall Street and for Main Street, no doubt. Thank you both very much for joining us.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.
Anytime. Well, that was Republican strategist John Feehery and Democratic strategist